Hey, and welcome back to Bain's Bites. I'm Bain. So when you think of St. Patrick's Day, you think of green beer and green eggs and ham, shepherd's pie. That's what we're going to be doing today. I've made shepherd's pie before, I'm pretty familiar with that one. We thought it'd be fun to do something a little different and try to give it an Asian spin, go with the fusion term. So instead of regular mashed potatoes, the first thing we're going to do is get some sweet potatoes, get them peeled, cubed up, in a pot of water and on the stove. So we've got our sweet potatoes peeled up. I've just got a pot of cold water. We're going to go ahead and cut them up into decent sized dice. We'll get them in the water while we finish cutting. Make sure they're about the same size so they all cook evenly. And then we'll turn the stove on and we'll cook them up. All right, we're all prepped up for the taters. Put a little bit of salt in there. Put a lid on it. We'll throw it on the stove and bring it up to a boil. So once those get up to a boil, probably set about a 10 or 15 minute timer and check them, and we'll show you. But once they're fork tender, we're good to go. We've got about 2 pounds of beef here. I've got a big pan heating up, so we're going to get this in the pan. Grab a spatula and start breaking it up. Now we're just browning the ground beef because we're going to drain off the fat when we're done. We'll start the vegetables cooking, and then we'll add the beef back in and try to make that bottom layer up. So for now I'm just going to cook this down, brown it up, render out some of the fat, and then we'll drain that off and hold it to get added back in later. So while we've got the meat on the stove, St. Patrick's Day is a big deal around here because it's little Brisket's birthday as well. Now Brisket's our 3-year-old, or soon to be 3-year-old miniature Australian Shepherd. She loves to be in here when I'm cooking, don't you? Is that beef? Alright, we got the beef browned up. I didn't cook it all the way through. I just wanted to get most of the grease out. So we're just going to pour it in here in a bowl. We're going to set this aside. I'm going to use the same pan and we're going to start on our vegetables. Now I know typical shepherd's pie is usually peas and carrots, right? But since we're trying to do some sort of an Asian flair on it, we just picked up a bag of diced onions, green and red bell peppers. I'm going to add some frozen corn. We've got some frozen peas, and we've got some baby carrots that we had. We chopped them up. We're going to mix those in as our vegetables for this version. So the first thing we're going to add to our pan with a little bit of the grease left from the beef are the onions and bell peppers, because they're going to cook the longest. Let those soften up. We'll start to cook them down. Now is also when we're going to start seasoning, and we're just going to start with some fresh pepper and just a twist or two of salt. Not too much because we'll be adding more seasoning as we go. These frozen veggies don't take too long to thaw out, and then they start to cook down. So we'll just keep moving them and letting them saute. You can see there's some water coming out because they were frozen, so we'll just cook that off and let them keep going. Now since our corn and our peas are also frozen, but our carrots are raw, now that we've got the water cooked out of the onion and pepper mixture, we're going to throw in some baby carrots and cook them down a little bit. We'll just run these for a minute or two before we add the rest of them. The last thing I'm going to add is some frozen corn. Give a good variety of color. And what's shepherd's pie without some sweet green peas? You can use whatever vegetables you like, but I think these will work with the flavors we're going for. We'll get them mixed in, just soften and thaw them out, and we'll add our beef mixture back in. Shouldn't take but a minute or two. Alright, that looks pretty good. So what we're going to do next is take our ground beef. We drain most of the grease off. We'll add it back into the pan. And I want a little bit of grease because I need something to help thicken this up later. Stir it all together. We'll drop our heat down a little bit. Just work through it, keep breaking everything up, mixing it all together. Now that we've got our meat and our vegetables mixed together, we'll go ahead and start adding some seasoning. And I'm just eyeballing this stuff, but we're going to start with some allspice. So it comes out slow, so I'd say about a teaspoon. I'm going to go with some ground ginger. Again, probably about a teaspoon, about that much. Something you should always keep in your kitchen is Chinese 5-spice. It's like a cheater blend. I'm going to go probably 2 teaspoons on this one. Got some dried thyme. That'll work. We're not doing fresh garlic this time, we're just using garlic powder. So just a little bit of garlic powder. And to give it just a little kick of heat, some cayenne red pepper. Now you don't have to go with these spices either, you can mix and match your way, but this is what we're going to try. We'll see how it does. Get these mixed in. The next thing we're going to add is some tomato paste. We're just going to squeeze some in, but you want to be sure you cook this down. That should be good. Alright, we'll give this a good stir. Let everything come together, and then we'll show you how we're going to thicken it and make our sauce. Our sweet potatoes just came to a boil. They're looking good and hot. So we'll check the clock and we'll check them here in about 10 minutes. So to help make our sauce thick, we're going to add some all-purpose flour. A couple tablespoons, just sprinkle it through. That should be enough. We want to get this mixed in really well and kind of let it cook down just a little bit. And then once we add our liquid, this will bind with the fat from the beef and help thicken up our sauce and make it nice and delicious.
Later.
Alright, we let our flour mix in and cook down just a little bit. So now we'll start adding our liquids. I've got the heat down lower. We just want to get everything in there and together, and then we'll bring it back up to a simmer. The first thing is just a splash of fish sauce. And if you don't have this, you don't need to use it. Next thing's a little bit of sesame oil. A little bit of this goes quite a long way, so just be careful with it. Today I've got ponzu, which is just a seasoned soy sauce. You can use soy sauce as well. We're going to go about a 1/4 cup, maybe just a little bit more. A splash of rice vinegar, just to kind of waken it up a little bit. The last thing we're going to add is some beef broth. I've got a can here. We're probably going to start with about half the can. Stir all this together so that the flour can soak in with the sauce. Still got it on low heat, so we'll just make sure we get a really good stir through it. And then once this all mixes up and it comes up to a simmer, you'll see that sauce and that liquid down there thicken up into a good paste around our base. Gave it a little taste. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more pepper and some more salt. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. You can see it's starting to thicken up already. It smells great. You know what, we'll add maybe a 1/4 more to the can. Alright, that looks pretty good. We'll put it on low and just let it sit there and stay warm. Potatoes are looking pretty good, so let's give them a check and see how they're doing. So we brought them to a boil. We let them sit there with the lid on for about 10 minutes, maybe a little less. We're going to grab one and see where they're at. Perfect. If you can slice through it like it's butter, we are all set. So we'll get these strained off in a bowl, and I'll show you how to whip them up into some mashed sweet potatoes. All right, we've got our potatoes cooked. I melted half a stick of butter in the microwave, and I heated up just about a cup, maybe a little bit more of milk. You want to make sure your butter and your milk are hot so they don't shock these potatoes as we mash them. And I've got just a little bit of allspice here I'm going to add to kind of bring the two top and bottom together. So we'll start with some seasoning, about a 1/4 teaspoon, not too much. Do some pepper. Add some salt. We'll add our butter first. We'll start with some of our warmed up milk, maybe half a cup, a little less. Grab our masher and go to town. Now for our wedding, we asked for these Gorilla Grip bowls, and we absolutely love them. When I'm sitting here mashing, they don't slip and slide all over the counter. We'll add a link down below if you guys want to check them out. Now that we've got them mashed, I just kind of want to whip them up a little bit. I think I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup of milk. Grab a whisk and stir together. And since we've got it, I had just over a cup of milk that I warmed up, so it's looking like we can use it all. Waste not, want not. We'll mix this together and we'll build our shepherd's pie. All right, we've got everything prepped. We're ready to build. We've got the oven preheating to 400 degrees. I think we're set to go. So we'll start with our base, our filling. Give the pan a spray. Grab our filling. And they're going to touch anyway, so I can use this. You can see it got good and thick. It smells like a stir fry. It smells really good. Just level it off. Clean off my spatula and we'll do the mashed potatoes. Alright, our mashed sweet potatoes look amazing. They're good and light and creamy. So we'll pour some of these over. Looks like we can use them all, which is perfect. Smooth them out all the way across. Looks delicious. Alright, that looks good. So we've got our base, we've got our mashed sweet potatoes. The oven's just about to hit 400 degrees. We'll pop them in the oven, we'll set a 10-minute timer, and we'll check them. I'm thinking it's going to be about 20 minutes, 25 minutes bake time. So it's been in the oven for 25 minutes. We just took a peek and it looks great. So I'm going to pull it out and let it start to cool a little bit, because I can tell you what, this house smells amazing. And I can't wait to try this thing. Now we wait, but I really don't want to. This looks so good.
Eventually.
What do you think? You're the queen of St. Patrick's Day. What do you think? Does it smell good? Yeah. Good girl. All right, I can't wait any longer. This was a complete one-off. Never heard of it, never tried it, but let's see if it came out all right. What a cool idea. That was perfect. I don't know what I would change. Well, if you guys want us to try something that you thought of but you've never heard of or seen, and it sounds interesting, shoot us a comment. Maybe we'll give it a try. Otherwise, y'all have a great St. Patrick's Day. Like the video if you enjoy what we're doing, and subscribe to the channel. As always, y'all have a great day. Smells good, huh? Smell good?